In Nigeria, many of us grew up hearing that respect is everything. But sometimes what we call respect is just fear wearing fine clothes. It's the same in families, workplaces, even churches. And when fear takes the place of genuine respect, the relationship becomes one-sided. Today, I want us to look at why we often confuse the two and how it's shaping our homes and culture. Welcome to Unmasking You, your space for learning, healing, and growing in emotional intelligence. Here, we explore the roots of our behaviors, challenge toxic cycles, and equip ourselves for healthier relationships. Today, we are talking about a cultural pattern so deep, many of us don't even question it. The way we confuse fear with respect in Nigeria. Growing up, my mom gave us a lot of chores, sometimes to keep us busy, other times I think to avoid connection. Looking back now, many of them were unnecessary. There was never really space to just be, to explore who we were. As a child with a lot of energy, I somehow got the longer list. And it wasn't just about getting them done. It had to be when she wanted and exactly how she wanted. Even if I noticed she couldn't do half of what she assigned, there was no room to say so. I dared not. Whenever I complained or did it differently, the response was punishment, beatings, verbal abuse, lashings, and being reported to relatives who would give me sermons on what a good child should be. Words that cut and the thoughts lingered. Over time, I learned to survive by performing obedience. When she was out, I would rest, regulating my nervous system without even knowing at that time that that's what I was doing. But once I heard her at the gate, it became a mad dash. I would wash the dishes in a hurry, hiding unwashed pots in the cupboards, sweeping dirt under the chairs, soaking clothes just long enough to rinse and hang them. The shortcuts every Nigerian child knows, or at least the millennials. For years, I believed I was lazy, disobedient, maybe even cursed. I remember praying hard for God to uproot the spirit of laziness. But outside the house, in school, in group projects, I noticed something different. I loved doing work when I could take my time, add my own personal touch, and see people appreciate it. And we can be honest, at that age, I loved the appreciation. And it was a warm feeling when people appreciate what you do. Tasks that drained me at home energized me elsewhere. Then it hit me. At home, it wasn't respect I felt, it was fear. I wasn't lazy, I was exhausted and constantly drained. That's when it hit me. At home, it wasn't respect I felt, it was fear. I wasn't lazy, I was just exhausted. And I lost motivation because I had to mirror a certain way someone believed I should do every single chore. And why was I scared? Fear of punishment, fear of being dismissed, fear of gossip passed to relatives, fear of ridicule. Respect inspires you to give your best. Fear just makes you hide your shortcuts better. And this is where so many Nigerians' homes blur the line. When children obey out of fear, it might look like respect from the outside, but inside it's resentment, it's not respect. Now let's break down the main reasons we confuse the two. So let's start with the cultural setup. In many Nigerian homes, the idea of respect is central. We greet our elders, we obey our elders, we avoid calling people by names if they are older. We keep our voices low in front of certain people. On the surface, these traditions look like honor. But under that, there is often something else. Fear. Fear of being shouted at. Fear of being beaten. Fear of being ridiculed. Fear of being called disrespectful. Sometimes for even doing something as small as asking a question for clarification or verification. Now, how does fear masquerade as respect? Fear and respect can look similar from the outside. Both can make someone quiet, obedient, and careful, but the root is different. Respect is rooted in admiration and voluntary honor. Fear is rooted in survival and self-protection. When a child greets you because they want to honor you, they love and adore you, they like the way you make them feel, they love your presence, that's respect. When a child greets you but still avoids you because they are afraid of being punished or ridiculed, that's fear. And it's not the same thing. And that's not okay. In toxic households, parents and elders often enforce obedience with intimidation. Questioning is seen as rebellion. Self-expression is called talking back. And children grow up learning that the safest way to live is to shrink, to hide opinions, and to agree even when they don't mean it. That is why you see a lot of fake smiles. This is where fear takes root and grows in place where respect should be. So, have you ever realized as an adult that the respect you had for certain family members was really just fear? Please share your story in the comments. You might help someone else see it too. Now, why do we accept fear as normal? Not always intentionally. Part of the reason is history. Nigerians' older generations often lived through times when survival meant unquestioned obedience. Whether to parents, teachers, or even military rule, the idea was, if you fear me, you will obey. You will submit. If you obey me, you survive. Unfortunately, this survival tactics has been passed down as a family tradition without asking its origin or if it's healthy. So no, we are not trying to shame our parents or our elders. We are trying to understand so we can do and be better, so we can heal and change the narratives and save the next generation. The long-term impact of fear-based respect doesn't produce trust. It produces distance and resentment. Some parents are now realizing, or better still asking themselves, why the millennials are avoiding communication or distancing themselves from them. Children raised this way may obey in childhood, but in adulthood, they often avoid those same family members, even in workplaces. It can also create adults who struggle to set boundaries because they've been conditioned to see disagreement as disrespect. So tell us, what is the one rule from your childhood home that you followed out of fear, not respect? Let's see if others can relate in the comments. So, how do we shift from fear to true respect? True respect is earned, not demanded. It is built on consistency. And I want us to be careful on what we are consistent about, because if you're consistent with disappointing people, with being arrogant, with being dismissive, that is not going to get you respect. So it is built on consistency, empathy, and fairness. In a family or community or organization or workplace, That means allowing younger voices to express themselves without shame. It means correcting without humiliation and leading by example, not by threats or dismissal. The role of emotional intelligence in this is that when we practice emotional intelligence, we understand that power doesn't have to mean domination. Parents and elders can keep authority while still being approachable. This is the difference between respected and being feared. If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say about the differences between fear and respect? Drop your advice in the comments. Someone might need to hear it today. So, fear may control people for a moment, but respect connects people for a lifetime. It's time we stopped confusing the two. Here in Nigeria, we can keep our traditions, but let's make sure they are healthy, rooted in mutual honor, not silent fear. This is emotional intelligence. This is unmasking you, one truth at a time. For more on toxic family dynamics, check out our next video. They didn't love you, they loved your silence. That would hit home.